forms of the devil have appeared in every part of the globe. We see the winds of evil among mankind blow immensely everywhere. Because if we see the atmosphere we are living in, what do we find? Satan everywhere. The atmosphere that we are surrounded by today is no other than an atmosphere of greed, of lust, of competition, of jealousy, of envy, of hatred, of backbiting, of slander, an atmosphere of darkness, devastation, war, turmoil, an atmosphere where the good is looked at as bad and the bad is looked at as good. This is what we are living in. Juvenile delinquency, our youth, and what they are affected, and what they are affected. Go outside and see what our youth are affected. How many of our young brothers and sisters have we lost to the streets? How many of our Muslim youth have we lost to the clubs and pubs? How many of our youth, Muslim youth, have we lost to drugs? How many of them have we lost to Western culture? How many of them have we lost to alcohol abuse, to hip-hop, to sexual promiscuity? How many? How many? How many of them have adopted patterns of behavior, ways and traditions, culture and customs, which is absolutely repugnant to a sincere belief? We are experiencing a global phenomenon. And what does this mean? It means that we are currently experiencing a monoculture of consumption, consumerism, but the most dangerous of all is Western culture. Western culture, which the entire globe has been eaten by it at an incredibly rapid rate. How many of our youth have been affected by Western lifestyle? How many of our youth have lost their Islamic identity? Where is it? How many of them have lost their Islamic life? Who they are, they have lost themselves. Where their hearts have been influenced by un-Islamic ways. Brothers and sisters, we are facing one of the greatest challenges of our time, that which is known as the dominant global culture. The globalization, which in reality is westernization, but that definitely means no other than Americanization. Americanization. Those who travel the earth, wherever you go on this earth, anywhere in the world, wallahi, in the most remote regions where the people are living in abject poverty, they cannot even afford to have 1 meal per day in those lands. And every other part of the land on this earth, what do we see? We see huge billboards of famous Western actors, of what? Famous Western actors doing what? Advertising no other than haram. Western actors on these billboards advertising the drinking of alcohol, the smoking of cigarettes, promiscuous behavior, nudity, drugs, and all sorts of haram. This is the effect, wallahi, of globalization. This is the effect of Americanization, even to our youth, because these countries, in the most remote regions, a lot of these areas are Muslim. So we are losing these young Muslims to these. When you see a famous actor on a billboard calling out to our youth, crying out to our youth, saying, obey your thirst, obey your thirst. Do you know what that means? What does it mean? Obey your thirst. What does it mean? You can tell me. This is portrayed on billboard. These Western actors in big writing coming out of his dirty mouth saying, obey your thirst. What does it mean? Obey your nafs. Obey your low, commanding, evil, wicked, mischievous ego. In other words, eat, drink, be merry, do whatever you so desire, they say. You only live once. This is their motto. This is their way. This is their life. And unfortunately, we are imitating this. We are living this lifestyle. Nothing other than a central obsession of ignorance of Jahiliyyah. And one of the interesting things about human beings is that we tend to mimic. We tend to imitate. We tend to desire to emulate so-called role models, which in reality they are devilish entities. So when our youth see these famous actors calling out to them, come, this is the life. Don't worry about restriction. Don't worry about prohibition. Don't worry about commandments. Do whatever you so desire. Whatever your nafs tells you, do it. Enjoy. Indulge. Delve into haram. You only live today, they say. And tomorrow you shall die. So don't let anyone stop you. Liberation, they call it. Freedom, they call it. Which in reality is no more than subjugation to the two-horned, ugly, deceiving devil. The message of haram, the message of ignorance, the message of no other than the devil.
Be he fulan. Wallahi, you will not be he fulan. Look at the genocide committed these days in that barbaric regime of the evil barbarian himself, Bashar, who is following the evil footsteps of his evil barbaric father. You know, in 1982, 40,000, over 40,000 were demolished, were massacred, savagely mutilated. Wallahi, in 1982 by his father, whose name was Hafiz al-Assad, Hafiz al-Shaitan, that's what he was. And this evil tyrant now is following his evil footsteps of his father. Only difference today, understand this. Back then there was no propaganda as we have today, no media coverage as we have today, no technology as today. Hence, he did what he wanted by the will of Allah Ta'ala, obviously, in 1982. But today, you know this and recognize this and understand this. If there was no media coverage, that land of Syria today would have been demolished by that barbarian of today. I call him Pharaoh of this ummah, the Pharaoh of this era, the Pharaoh of this nation. Bashar, he would have, wallahi, slaughtered a major onslaught, not leaving any opponent to him. But he cannot do this today. Why? There's media out there. There's media. Unlike his devilish father, who in a few days massacred over 40,000 defenseless men, women and children. Now, does this not show us the signs of the hour progressing, explicit before our very eyes? Subhanallah, before the eyes of both Muslim and non-Muslim world today, we're doing nothing. Wallahi, nothing. Why? There's no oil there. There's no oil there. They're not interested. Let them kill each other. Who cares? That's what they say. That's what they're saying. Whether they say it or not, it is their action. And the supposed Islamic leaders of the world, supposed Islamic leaders, what are they doing? Having their coffee and dates. Their coffee and dates. يستحيون من الناس ولا يستحيون من الله. They feel embarrassed of people but not of Allah. Allah says يخافون من الناس ولا يخافون من الله. Allah tells us they fear the people and they don't fear Allah. This is our problem today. Why do you think we are backsliding? Why do you think we are so humiliated? Why do you think we are inferior today despite our numbers? Because we have lost the izzah of Islam. We have not taken the right direction. And just as Umar ibn Khattab beautifully said, was he not on a mount with Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah traveling to Damascus? To Damascus. Was he not riding to Damascus? And then they reached the fort, which is a shallow part of the river, and obviously they have to, lead the horses through. So Umar ibn Khattab goes off his mount and places his slippers on his shoulders. This is the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen. He takes his slippers off, places them on his shoulder and leads the horse. Now, Abu Ubaidah was absolutely blown away, dumbfounded by this man's actions. He said, Ya Umar, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, what are you doing? I do not wish the people of that village sees you in this state. In what state? Because he took his slippers off and put them here. In a humble position. So Umar got angry. He got angry. Because Ya Abu Ubaidah. Because wallahi, if anyone had have said what you had said, I would have dealt with him harshly. And we know Umar ibn Khattab. There's no leniency in his ways. He said, Allah Ta'ala gave us izzah, honor in Islam. Whoever desires honor in other than Islam, he will debase him, humiliate him, belittle him, disparage him. He will make him look low.
Is the Almighty Allah for blessing us with this beautiful deen. Brothers and sisters, do you know the blessing that you have before your eyes, before your hands, before your life? Do you recognize what Allah has given you? He's given you Islam. Know that Islam is the only deen, the only way, the only religion that provides the cure, the medicine, the solution to what? Wallahi, to the world's perplexing social problems. And He has given you this. He has blessed you with this. So hold on to this beautiful deen and portray it in a way that Allah likes. Go out there, propagate this deen, show it to the world, proclaim the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, show them. This deen is the only deen that teaches a perfect and excellent, unadulterated concept of pure Islam is He alone is the creator, no one else. For this reason, we do not compromise. Islam cannot compromise with anything that goes against the oneness of Allah. Whether it is Trinitarianism, or paganism, or idolatry, or polytheism, or racism, or nationalism, or imperialism, or colonialism, or socialism, or communism, or secularism, or liberalism, or any other deviated ism out there. Why? Because all these deviated groups, they made not unjust estimate. Allah blessed us, ya ikhwati al-a'izza, ya akhwati al-a'izza. He blessed us by creating us in the most favored of all nations, not only as Muslims, but we are blessed to be amongst the most favored the most favored nations, nation of the greatest man that walked this earth. Did you realize this? Do you realize the importance of what you're holding? Do you really recognize what Allah has blessed you with? If you are blinded to this, if your mind is sealed from this, if you are oblivious from this, you have major problems. Just don't undermine what you have been blessed with. When you say La ilaha illallah, say it with beauty, with happiness, with izzah, with love, with desire, with wantonness. Because you have been blessed. Not open our eyes to the realization of this Western culture. Ya ikhwati al-a'izza, ya akhawat, this is not a minor issue. This is something very, very serious. Hold on to the grasp, the stronghold, cling onto Islam. Show your loyalty, your izzah, your allegiance in what Allah has given you. Do you not remember Umar's statement? Whoever shows izzah or loyalty or honor or allegiance to other than Islam, he will belittle you, humiliate you, degenerate you, disparage you. You end up being trash like them. How many of our sisters are allowed from their husbands, they allow them to watch The Bold and Beautiful or Days of Our Life? How many? And when you come home, she's upset and angry because she's taken the role, the model of those satanic individuals. So when you come home, tired from work, she just pounces you. Why? This, that, no, this, that. What are you talking about? What's going on now? What happened? But it's you. You're the reason. You've allowed her to do this. So you can't blame her. Although she's blamed, you cannot blame her because it's from your own hands. Brothers and sisters, wake up. Wake up and control your house. control who you are to that which Allah loves. This is the reality of globalization. Wherever you may go, wherever you are, you have America in your house, America in your backyard, America in your front yard, America in your bedroom, in your lifestyle, in your dress code, in your eating, drinking, in your speech, in your actions. Because Americanization has enveloped us all, in particular our children. In particular our children. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Back to this family that I entered upon, one of the students, and they're sitting down, his children, about 6 of them, tabarakallah, watching Harry Potter. I said, Akhi, what are you doing? Because, what do you mean, Shaykh? I said, how can you allow your children to watch this? He goes, harmless fiction, harmless entertainment. I go, harmless? Harmless? This film, whatever you think about it, glorifies, magnifies, promotes paganism, promotes shirk, promotes evil. Harmless? Teaching your children shirk, magic, the drinking of unicorn blood. What does Harry Potter do in this film? And his devilish schoolmates, what do? Other than cast spells, learn magic, brew potions, learn how to tell the future, learn what's known as transfiguration, or numerology, or astrology, or crystal gazing. What else is in that film? And this is called harmless? Wallahi, this person did not understand Tawheed. This person did not understand Islam. For verily, this film is built on shirk upon shirk, from start to end. It even belittles those who are non-magicians. They're called, I think, in the film, muggles. It belittles the non-magicians as being narrow-minded. They're weak, they're basic, they're ignorant, they're boring. It teaches the child this, that the non-magician muggles are weak, boring, ignorant, feeble-minded people. While the magicians, they're the classy intellectuals, the academical people. And you say this is harmless? So you see these young fellows, young Muslim youth, surrounding themselves with Harry Potter memorabilia, with the wand, with a broomstick, with shirts of Harry Potter, with books, with puppets, toys. Subhanallah, Khalik Azza wa Jal. Showing their loyalty and their allegiance and their love to a mushrik. To a mushrik, an enemy of Allah Ta'ala. And we claim it as harmless fiction or entertainment. Do you really believe that Umar ibn Khattab today will allow his children on that satanic screen watching Harry Potter? Honestly now. And he would say, oh, it's only harmless entertainment. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam would get extremely angry to the extent where the veins would pop from his face when he saw anything that was negating Tawheed. And immediately he would stop it with no question. Then and there. This is the monoculture of Western culture, Western lifestyle. And subhanallah, Khalik Azza wa Jal, the narration actually mentions it. that we will imitate the non-Muslims. So much so that if they entered the hole of a sand lizard, we will quickly follow them. Believing their ways is more opulent, more affluent, more classy, more enjoyable, more pleasant, more sensational. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. And we allow our children to indulge in this haram. Likewise, you see, cartoons, for example, on television, but the majority of today's cartoons, wallahi, teaches either shirk, kufr, haram, boyfriend and girlfriend, and look at the way they are dressed, even in cartoons. They glorify nudity.